it's Laynie and welcome to my channel. How are you guys doing today? I really do hope you're having the best day ever. I always hope you guys are doing amazing. Please let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Today is Father's Day and I must say my husband is sadly not having the best Father's Day ever, which I feel really bad about because he went out of his way to make sure I had a great Mother's Day. And it's been a trip. It's been a wild ride over here. This has nothing to do with today's video. Today's video is all about the Standout Beauty Sponge, which I will demo for you guys and give you my thoughts, but I think I need a vent session. We have a toddler who I believe is cutting molars. I can't guarantee it, but her bottom gums are like hard and round, and I think she's cutting molars. She had her first tummy bug and was sick the start of the week. She's also going through a sleep regression. She's been riding the fussy train, which if you have a toddler, you know it's rough. It's rough. And then we had to take our dog to the emergency vet today. Thankfully, it seems like everything's going to be fine, but if you could keep him in your thoughts and prayers, that would mean so much to me because I'm hoping this is just a GI infection and the antibiotics are going to kick in and make everything better. But that ended up being really expensive. Just seems like when it rains, it pours, right? But I always try to count my blessings, and I know it could have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse. So I'm trying to keep that thought process going. Anyways, let me know down below how you guys are doing. I have to throw this out there. Thank you so much for helping me hit 2,000 subscribers. So beyond amazing. I'm so excited to see the family growing here. This community is wonderful. Honestly, I have met some of the kindest, sweetest people ever through my YouTube channel. So thank you so much. And if you want to help me keep this channel growing, then make sure you click that subscribe button, join the fam. You will not regret it. And now I think we can officially start talking about this weird, soft, squishy, kind of odd makeup sponge. Let's go. Okay, so I got my Standout Beauty Sponge from Amazon. Of course, I order too much stuff from Amazon. It has over 1,000 reviews on there, so I felt pretty confident going into my purchase. I've seen other YouTubers use this sponge. Specifically, I believe her name is Rissa Does Makeup. She's the one that really made me go, I kind of want to try that. It is $20, so very comparable to the Beauty Blender. The reason this one really caught my eye versus the Beauty Blender is the fact that this one is supposed to work just as well dry as it does wet. I've mentioned this before if you're not new here. I can get a bit lazy when it comes to my sponge routine, and I don't always want to have to go wet it down before when I'm getting ready because it seems like I never think about it until I go to use the sponge and I'm like, darn it. No, I have to go with the sponge. So that's what really caught my eye. It has a rounded side here for pressing and rolling foundation into the skin, other cream products into the skin, so you can cover a large area with that nice big rounded portion there. And then there is a triangular side, which is this little point here. Hope you guys can see that. This is so you can do your concealer and powder under the eyes. And then the flat sides, you do get two, almost kind of like 4 flat sides, because even this side is a little bit flat. All the flat sides, it says you can use it for sculpting, contouring around the cheekbones, along the nose, and along the jawline. When I purchased this, the directions did say to use it wet the first few times, and then it's supposed to be soft enough that you can use it dry. So at this point, it's nice and soft. It wasn't even ultra firm when I first took it out of the package, but I do feel like there's a bit of a difference. When I first took it out of the package and it was brand new, it squished up really easy and kind of stayed squished up, and I think the water kind of helped make it bounce back, kind of fill up. Now that it's been used many times and washed, it puffs right back up when you squish it down. I am going to use products I'm familiar with today, so that way there's nothing that's going to throw a wrench into demoing this for you guys. I did go in with my concealer beforehand because today, out of nowhere, I felt like carving my eyebrows, which I never do, but I don't know, the itch was there, so I did it. So I then brightened right between the eyebrows. I did under the eyes with my concealer and the chin and the laugh lines a little bit. Now I'm going to go in with the Joa Crystal Glow Foundation. I love this foundation. It's beautiful. I am in the shade PLN040, and I love it because it's all in one. I don't have to use a primer, and it's definitely my summer shade. One thing I do find with this foundation is I do think applied with a sponge, it looks even darker on my skin than with a brush. I think the brush kind of shears it out, but the color's not terrible. It's just like it's a little dark here, but it matches like my arms, shoulders, things like that. I try not to get too much sun on my face. So anyways, as you can tell, that buffed out super quickly. Part of that is the fact this foundation is just easy, effortless. It doesn't take a lot of work, but the size of this sponge, you can cover some distance. I feel like the sponge did eat up a little product, but anytime you use a sponge, I kind of think that happens. Now, if I did wet this beforehand, it probably would absorb a little bit less. But like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to have to wet it. Also, I feel like the longevity of the sponge itself would be better if I'm only wetting it when I wash it, which is about every 2 days, every 3 days as a stretch. I try to wash it pretty regularly, but still compared to getting it wet every day where it's going to have that environment to grow bacteria if it's wet all the time. So I don't know, that's what my brain tells me, that maybe it'll last like a little bit longer than a beauty blender, but I thought that was so easy and it just buffed right out. I do enjoy it. I really, really do enjoy it. I am going to go in on the other side, 2 pumps, just like I did with the sponge, with a brush, just so you guys can get a side-by-side comparison of how the foundation looks with a brush. You might be thinking, well, why don't you go in with a beauty blender? Because that's expensive and I'm not about to open up a brand new beauty blender and let it sit there for 6 months to then be thrown away. So, again, this mama's on a budget. This foundation just buffs out so easily, honestly, like that was so quick with the brush. It's so easy. But honestly, I think this side looks a lot prettier. It shears it out just enough that it really like blends and becomes one with the skin versus this side, which looks just like a little heavy to me. So I'm actually gonna pounce it on out before it totally sets. I just think it looks much prettier on the sponge side and a lot more natural skin-like than with the brush. I feel like she's real good, you guys. I really like this sponge. Cleaning my brush real quick. Always clean your brush. If you're new here, I always leave an old washcloth in front of me and I buff all of my brushes onto it in between use to get extra buildup off of them. It makes cleaning them easier. I do want my under eyes to be just barely brighter, so I'm going to go in with a little tiny bit more of my e.l.f. concealer right here. Just a little bit, not a lot. She's new, welcome her to the group. Now, I personally like to go in with just the corner of the biggest section of the sponge. I just think it works out really nicely. The sponge is nice and soft, so I can kind of compress it between my fingers and get right up in there where I want that coverage. Works so well for this due to the fact that it is so pliable and it does have those sharp corners, so you can really get specific with your placement, like easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And for fun, I haven't tried this before, but I did just get this Wet n Wild contour stick and I thought, ooh, wouldn't that be fun to see how it does with some cream products? So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of this. Boop, boop, boop. I don't know how long she can sit for, so I don't want to let it sit too long or I might look crazy. I always just use this part, but maybe should I do something different? Okay, I'm gonna try it. I think she sets kind of fast. It's not my favorite using it that way for the contour, but I think what I'll do is this, maybe it just sets like real fast. Again, first time using this. do love the color of this though. This is in Oaks on You. I think I will use this sharp little tip though for the nose. That's working out really well. The sponge is so soft though that you have to be very delicate if you want to get that sharp line, because it will squish up on you and you won't have a sharp line anymore. But that really worked well for the nose. I don't like a harsh nose contour, so I kind of like the fact that it's not making like a super harsh, super bold look, because that's just not me, not my contour. I am going to put just a little bit more, but I'm going to start with one side because I do feel like this was setting a bit quickly, and going with my tried and true rounded side, because I personally think I just find this easier for the buffing process. I think it would all depend on what kind of contour look you want. I want a very diffused, soft contour. I personally don't think any of the major edges would work for blush, so my intention is to kind of just grab it between my fingers and kind of squish it up. We're getting very technical here. We're going to squish it up and just pounce a little color onto these cheeks. And this is the Believe Beauty in Tropical Sunset. It is a beautiful blush, but it is very pigmented, so you don't need a lot of product. I'm just pouncing, pouncing, pouncing. And then in the summer, I like to just go across the bridge of the nose like she's sun-kissed, she goes outside. My bangs are doing something wild right now. I don't like making my jawline harsher because I feel like I have a fairly pronounced jawline. But for those of you that like to clean up your contour, I see you guys do this on the tube. So that's what I'm going to do today. Then I think the trick is to let it sit for a little bit. Do, 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 do. Okay, it's time to dust. I feel like I was more successful on this side. See, I've got kind of a line, which I don't know how I feel about that. Faces don't have lines, so I'm going to just kind of see if I can soften it just a little bit. There. Boom! Okay, so here is the finished look, and honestly, I'm real impressed. I think this is the best makeup sponge I have ever used, and I've used a bunch of them. I think you should try this. I find this more multi-use, honestly easier because I don't have to wet it, and I love that fact. If you love wetting your sponge, then stick with what works for you. But if you are like me and you don't want to have to wet it, it's so soft, it blends everything, it's quick because of the size. Like, I love this sponge, and honestly, it's going to be my go-to. I don't see myself going back to any of the others. I'm kind of stuck on Stands Out Beauty. I love this thing. I think it's great, and I feel totally comfortable recommending it to you guys, my amazing subscribers. So if you have tried this sponge, let me know your thoughts down below. I always love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.